we are discussing, we have completed our discussion on biotic and abiotic factors. We have completed our discussions on food chain and food web. Okay, so today we will discuss a new topic related to ecosystem, that is the forest ecosystem. Okay, so all the terms we have done till now, that is about abiotic, biotic, and then already we have discussed about the trophic levels, that all we will relate with the forest ecosystem. Okay, so if we will talk about a forest, so what is a forest? Forest is a place which consists of dense trees, shrubs, herbs, or grasses, or it may have number of carnivores, it may have number of herbivores, isn't it? So forest is a place where we can find a variety or a range of plants and animals. Okay, so that's why we are taking an example of forest, so that here we can relate all the producers and consumers as their trophic level. Okay, we will set all the producers and consumers according to their trophic level. Okay, so all the terms that we have discussed already, I think now you all will get clear about that term. Okay, so here the little kind of definition I have written. So forest is a large area of land with a dense growth of trees, shrubs, bushes, grasses and all. Not only here only I have written about the producer level. Already we have discussed that in an ecosystem both producers and consumers are present. So here let us start our discussion of forest ecosystem. So let us start with the first level, that is the producer level. So if we will start with our first level, producers. Okay, so producers we can also call them as autotrophs. Okay, so producers are generally the green plants who all can produce their own food. Okay, so they need not to depend on other, only they use the water, the mineral content from the soil, sunlight and carbon dioxide to undergo photosynthesis. Is it? So here let us start with the first level, or here we can write it as first trophic level. Is it? So producers are under the first trophic levels and they are the autotrophs. Okay, so producers are the autotrophs who all can produce their own food. So who are the producers in a forest ecosystem? Already I said, all the varieties of plants. Okay, that may be grass, that may be herb, that may be a shrub, that may be a big tree, that may be a small plant. Okay, so any variety of green plants are under the producers level. Okay, and they can prepare their own food. Okay, so we have already discussed in our previous classes, there are some insectivorous plants are also there. Okay, so remember, insectivorous plants can also be under producers, because I have mentioned while I had taught that chapter, remember that insectivorous plants sometimes when they need nitrogen, that time only they take insects, or else they also undergo photosynthesis. So do not get confused that where we will put the insectivorous plants. So insectivorous plants are also under the producers level. So now after producer, the next level we can say the consumer level. Okay, so here producer level ends with all varieties of plants. Now the consumer level will start. Okay, who all will consume the producers. Okay, so these producers are consumed by the primary consumers. Primary consumers. So primary consumers are the animals who all feed on green plants. Not only the leaf, they can also feed on the flower, they can also feed on the fruits. Okay, we can take a lot of example like butterfly, we can take the example of grasshopper. Okay, so many examples who all deer. Okay, so deer also is an example of primary consumer. So here primary consumers contains, or it have the category of animals who all feed on only producers. Okay, means they are herbivores. Okay, so here these are, now from here we are talking about the heterotrophs. Here we have completed our discussion on autotrophs. From here now onwards we are talking about the heterotrophs, means those who all cannot prepare their food. They may be primary consumer, they may be secondary, they may be tertiary. Okay, so all the primary consumers, remember, they are herbivores, means they feed on only plant material. Okay, so here we can write, this is the second trophic level. This is the second trophic level, and these are the herbivores. These are the herbivores. And here I have mentioned autotrophs, and remember, here onwards we are discussing the heterotrophs. Okay. Autotrophs, and here onwards we are discussing the heterotrophs. So these heterotrophs contains a number of trophic level. Here we, after the first trophic level, now we are discussing the second trophic level. And here in this second trophic level, it contains, or it have the organism or the animals who all feed on only plant material, and we can categorize them as herbivores. Now there are also some animals who all feed on the herbivores. Okay. Suppose here if we take the example of deer, so deer can be eaten by the tiger or lion. Okay, so they are under the secondary consumers. Or we can say third trophic level. Okay, secondary consumers are under the third trophic level, who all are the carnivores. These are the herbivores and these are the carnivores. Means, or else we can write them as primary carnivores. Okay, so I am representing the primary symbol as like this. Okay, don't get confused. Primary, secondary, like that. Okay, so you can also write PRIMARY, primary, spelling also you can write, or like this also you can represent. So here we can say them as primary carnivores. Why we will call them as primary carnivores? Because they feed on the herbivores. But there are also some organisms, there are also some animals who feed on the both primary carnivores and herbivores. Who all feed on both primary carnivores and herbivores. Don't worry, we'll discuss the example. So here they come, they will be in the fourth trophic level, or as we can write here, tertiary consumers. Okay, tertiary consumers or fourth trophic level. Okay, tertiary consumers are under the fourth trophic level, and they can also be termed as secondary carnivores. Secondary carnivores. Got it? What difference I said? Primary carnivores feeds on only herbivores. Primary carnivores takes their food as the herbivores only. But the secondary carnivores, they may feed on primary carnivore, they may feed on herbivores. Okay, so now let me just give you a short recap, then we will go to the example. So here we are discussing about the forest ecosystem, and a forest ecosystem consists of a variety of plants and animals. We have started with the first trophic level, that is from the producer level. Okay, so here producers are the autotrophs or the green plants who all can produce their own food. Okay, and the second trophic level is the primary consumer. Here we are talking about the heterotrophs. Producers are under the autotrophs and consumers are under the heterotrophs. So we can broadly classify, or we can broadly categorize the forest ecosystem into producers and consumers. Okay, producers and consumers. Consumers include primary, secondary and tertiary. So here the primary consumers are under the second trophic level, where they contain all the herbivores, means all the plant eaters who all feed on plant material. Next, the secondary consumers, or we can say the third trophic level, who all feed on the herbivores. Okay, and then the tertiary consumers, or the fourth trophic level, we can also call them as secondary carnivores, who all may feed on secondary consumer or they may feed on primary consumers. Okay, so now let us discuss by the help of example. Okay, there is again one category present in an ecosystem, but we cannot relate it with the trophic level. They are the decomposers, okay, or they are the scavengers. Decomposers are the organisms who all feed on the dead remaining of the producers and consumers. Okay, or else if we will talk about the scavengers, already we have discussed it. Okay, that's why I am going in very strong. If you will talk about the scavengers, scavengers also feed on the dead and decaying material of the consumers. Okay, so here let me discuss with you some differences between the decomposers and the scavengers. Most of you are asking also in the last class that, madam, what is the difference between the decomposers and scavengers? Both feed on the dead matter only, but no, as they feed on dead matter, then also they got some of the differences. See, the decomposers, like the microorganisms, generally the bacteria and most of the bacteria are under the decomposers. Okay, so the decomposers, they feed on both the producer and the consumers. Means they feed on the dead and decaying matter, like they can feed on the dry leaves, the decaying leaves, or the rotten fruits, okay, the rotten vegetables. And they may also feed on the dead consumers. Okay, so what they will do, they will change or they will convert the complex substance, the complex food substance present inside the body of the producer and consumer into simple substance. Okay, they will convert the complex substance of the producers and consumers body into simple one, and they will allow that simple substance to mix into the soil, and again these producers can take it back as their food. Okay, already we have discussed these producers. See, when the decomposers will feed on the dead and decaying remaining of the producers and consumers, they will convert their complex body material into the simple one, and they will return it back to the soil, so that plant can again avail that from the soil. If you are well acquainted with the gardening, then you might have noticed some of the times we are keeping the vegetable peels, we are keeping the tea leaves and all down to the plant. Why we are doing that? So that plant can get adequate nutrient. We can call it as biofertilizer, means the fertilizer which we are obtaining from the plants remaining. Okay, so why that biofertilizer is so important for the growth of the plants? Because when we will place the vegetable peels and all in the soil, that vegetable peels will be decayed or will be decomposed by the decomposers. Okay, by the decomposers, and these decomposers will again supply that complex nutrient. They will convert the complex nutrient into simple one, and again they will supply it. Some of the part they will take as their food, and rest they will supply to the soil, so that plants can again take it. So decomposers are playing a very important role in nutrient recycling. Remember this. Decomposers are playing a very important role in recycling of nutrient in an ecosystem. Okay, but if we will talk about the scavengers, okay, if we will talk about the scavengers or the detritivores, okay, I will also tell you the difference between scavenger and detritivores. See, scavengers or the detrivores, they feed on the dead heterotrophs or the dead consumers. The dead and decaying consumers are taken by the scavengers. Like we can take the example of eagle. Okay, crow can be also a scavenger. Means whenever they will find a dead animal or a dead consumer, they will feed on the dead organism. But the difference is that they will not convert their complex nutrient into simple. Means they will not help in nutrient recycling. They will only feed on the dead material. Rest of the decomposition will be carried out by the decomposers only. This is the main difference between decomposers and the scavengers. Means scavengers feed on the dead matter, no doubt, but they will not convert their complex nutrient into simple one. They will not help in the nutrient recycling. Rather, they can help in cleaning the environment. Remember this, decomposers plays an important role for what? Nutrient recycling, but scavengers are playing an important role to clean the environment in an ecosystem. Okay, so both are very important in their place. Okay, so this is the main difference between decomposers and scavengers. And remember, decomposers may feed on both plant matter and both autotrophs and heterotrophs, but the scavengers mostly they feed on only the consumers. Okay, sometimes you might have noticed a dead rat or sometimes a dead dog or cat or cow by the side of road, and after some days you will notice that it will be not there. Okay, some days it will produce a very pungent smell because it will be decayed by the decomposers. And some of the scavengers like eagle and crows, they also feed on the dead matter. So they are the scavengers and these are the decomposers. So there is not more difference between scavengers and detrivores. Scavengers generally feed on big host. Like if we will, they will feed on a large quantity. If we will take the difference between scavenger and detrivores, scavengers generally feed in a large quantity, but detrivores they feed on small quantities. Okay, so this is the little difference between the scavengers and detrivores. Scavengers feed in a large quantity. Eagle can be under the scavenger. Okay, sometimes some of the rodents, okay, they can be categorized under the detrivores. Okay, scavengers and detrivores both are in a one place only, but scavengers feed in a large quantity, detrivores feed in a small quantity. Okay, so these decomposers or the scavengers or the detrivores, they will be not included under this trophic level because they will feed on both producers and consumers. So they are not placed in the trophic level, but they are playing an important role in an ecosystem. Okay, so beside the autotrophs and heterotrophs, there is again a group like the decomposers. Okay, again a group, the decomposers, and these decomposers are not under any of the trophic level. Okay, so this is all about the trophic levels or the producers, starting from the producers up to the secondary carnivores. Okay, or we can say the tertiary consumers, producers to tertiary consumer level. Now let us discuss one or two examples, then we will be clear about the topic. So if we will take an example, grass. Okay, grass can be taken or grass can be eaten by grasshopper. In short, I am writing grasshopper. Okay, grasshopper can be eaten by frog. Frog can be eaten by eagle. Okay, so here grass is under the producer, means it is under the first trophic level, or we can say it as producer level. These producers are consumed by the herbivores or the primary consumers. Who is the primary consumer here? Grasshopper. Grasshopper is then taken by the secondary consumer, and this secondary consumer is then taken by the tertiary consumer. So here eagle is placed in the tertiary consumer. Okay. Let us take one more example. Grasshopper. Suppose grasshopper is being eaten by snake. Oh, okay. In place of grasshopper, let us take an example of deer. Okay. Deer can be eaten by tiger. Okay. Deer can be eaten by tiger. So here deer is under the primary consumer and tiger is under the secondary consumer. Okay. So here see, tiger cannot be again eaten by the tertiary consumer. So in this ecosystem, we may complete it with the secondary consumers. Okay. So remember, in all the varieties of ecosystem, the producers will be same. Okay. Producers will not change in any ecosystem. And most of the cases, the primary consumers will also not change. There might be little modification in between the secondary and the tertiary consumers. Like for example, bear. Okay, bear can be omnivore, means it can feed on both plant material and it can also be a carnivore. So where we will place it? So, like that, depending upon their food habit, their rank may be interchanged. Sometimes the rank of the secondary consumer and tertiary consumer may be interchanged. So here, bear can be placed under primary consumer, but it is not so justified to place it under primary consumers. Means it is not totally herbivore, and it is also not justified to keep it in carnivore because it is not totally a carnivore. So depending upon its food habit, we can sometimes place it on primary consumer or we can sometimes place it in what? Secondary consumer. And where, see, if here, suppose take an example, deer. Deer is under herbivore or primary consumer. Deer can be bear. Okay, bear feeds on deer, and this bear can be eaten by tiger or lion. So here see, again the secondary and tertiary consumer level changed. So depending upon their food habit, some of the secondary and tertiary consumers may change their place depending upon whether it is a food chain or food web. I hope you all have remembered the food chain and food web. In food chain we are going in a sequence, but in food web there are a lot of choices among the consumers to feed on. Okay, so this is all about the primary consumer, secondary and tertiary. So depending on these you can relate or you can find the place for any of the animal like tiger, lion, deer. Okay, we can find a place for them. But remember, most of the time, if we'll take an example of tiger, lion and all, most of the time they will be under the secondary consumers only because they will feed on what? Herbivores. So here tiger, if it will feed on deer, then it is also not justified to keep it in the rank of tertiary consumer because deer is an omnivore, means it also feeds on herbivores and it also feeds on carnivores. So tiger is feeding on the herbivore, bear can be a herbivore and it can also be a carnivore. So depending upon, so I am not going so details because for now only the thing required here that you should get clear about the trophic levels, like the first trophic level, second, third and fourth trophic level, and by that you get clear about the producer, then primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Remember, the primary consumers can also be said as herbivores, the secondary consumers can also be said as primary carnivores, and the tertiary consumers can also be said as the secondary carnivores. Okay, so here we later on we will discuss again some more examples related to that. Okay, so again go through it, again go through your book, again go through the food chain and food web. It is very important. And already we have also completed the pyramid of number, means when we will move from the producer level. Okay, what is pyramid of number? When we will move from the producer level to the consumer level, their number will decrease. Okay, producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Okay, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, these are the producers. So the number of producers in an ecosystem is more than that of the primary consumer, then to the secondary, and then to the tertiary. Means the number of tertiary consumers are very less. Remember, what is tertiary consumer? Tertiary consumers are the animals who may feed on the secondary consumer, or they may feed on the primary consumers. Okay, so if I will ask you where you will keep tiger, so tiger will be in the secondary consumer because it will feed on the what? Herbivores. Okay, where you will keep the eagle, so eagle may be in the tertiary consumer. Okay, so if you will take grasshopper, snake, then we can take eagle. Okay, eagle may be under the secondary consumer. It may also feed on snake, it may also feed on the frog. Means, see here, frog, grasshopper can take the grasses. Grasshoppers can be taken or can be eaten by the snake or frog. And these tertiary consumer, like we can take the example of eagle, can feed on both snake and frog, or sometimes it may feed on the primary consumers, like we can take rat. Okay, if you will take an example of rat. Okay, so these secondary tertiary consumer like this eagle can feed on both snake and frog, or it may feed on the rat. Okay, so the tertiary consumers are the consumers who all feed on both primary consumers and secondary consumers. Okay, so this is all about the producers and consumers or the trophic levels in an ecosystem. I hope you all are clear about the topic, and let us discuss or let us move on to our next topic, that is the flora and fauna in an forest ecosystem. Like we will talk about the types of forest ecosystem. How many types of forest ecosystems are there? We will discuss about that. So students, let us discuss our next topic, that is the flora and fauna in a forest ecosystem. So what is flora and what is fauna? Flora means the plants. Okay, all the varieties of plants are known as flora, which is placed in a wide range, and all the varieties of animals which are present in a wide range are categorized under fauna. Already we have discussed, and if we will talk about a forest ecosystem, it consists of a wide range of producers and consumers. So that is only a discussion. The producers are the flora and the consumers are the fauna. Okay, so all the range of plants are categorized under the flora, and all the range of animals are categorized under the fauna. So let us discuss the flora and fauna of a forest ecosystem. So the first one is the tropical rainforest. Okay, so basing on the flora and fauna, actually the plants and animals are not same for all the forest ecosystem. Forest also have its own limitation of plants and animals depending upon the climatic condition, depending upon the rainfall. Okay, so depending upon all the climatic factors, soil factors, okay, mineral content in the soil, the growth of plants varies from forest to forest. Okay, and basing on that, we have divided broadly 3 main categories of forest basing on its flora and fauna. The first category is tropical rainforest. Okay. Tropical rainforest is generally seen in the western coast of India and northeast of Himalayas. Okay, and if we will talk about the plants, it generally contains the evergreen plants, because in tropical rainforest the amount of rainfall is quite more. Okay, so it got adequate amount of rainfall and it also got adequate amount of sunlight. So here the density, we can say the density of flora is more in tropical rainforest. Okay, because throughout the year it got the rainfall. If you compare with rest all forest. Okay, so as it got adequate supply of rain, it has a wide vegetation of flora. Okay, and as it has a wide vegetation, it also got a wide range of fauna, means it also got a wide range of animals, like we can take wolves, deer, flying squirrels. Okay, number of varieties of animals, snakes, different varieties of snakes, tiger, lion. Okay, so this forest we can also say this is a very dense and dangerous forest. So here generally the forest that you can see in the Discovery channels, generally they are preferring the tropical rainforest, so that they can get a wide range or wide variety of flora and fauna there. Okay, next is a temperate deciduous forest. Okay, temperate deciduous forest is generally towards the eastern coast of India. Okay, the second one is the temperate deciduous forest. It is generally towards the eastern coast of India, and the flora is little less as compared to the tropical rainforest. And here generally we can find the costliest woods like the sandalwood, teak. Okay, so these kind of plants are found in the temperate deciduous forest. And the animals like we can say wolves. Okay, wolves, then not as dense animal as that of in tropical rainforest, but moderate rate of animals we can find, moderate rate of fauna can be seen in temperate rainforest. Now the third one is the coniferous forests are generally seen in Himalayas. Okay, and this is generally placed in the altitude of 1700 to 3000 meter. Okay, it is generally in the altitude of 1700 to 3000 meter, and as the name suggests, what coniferous means, it has all the conifer trees. Conifer trees like pine. Okay, we can take the example of pine. Pine is a conifer tree. So here these conifer forests are generally, they do not have a wide range of fauna, means they do not have a wide variety of animals. Okay, they got limited varieties of animals like goat, wolves and all. So if we will compare these three forests, the tropical rainforest, we can see it is very dense in both flora and fauna. Okay, so this is all about the types of forest depending upon the flora and fauna. Let us take some more examples. Okay, some important examples. Gir forest, Gujarat. You might have learned about this in like geography and all. Gir forest is in Gujarat, and this is also forest with a wide range of flora and fauna, and the most it is famous for lions. Okay, so this Gir forest is famous for lions. Second is the Jim Corbett National Park, present in Uttarakhand. Okay, and it is famous for tiger. Then Jalalpara Sanctuary. Okay, Jalalpara Sanctuary is in West Bengal, and it is famous for rhinos. Okay, so this is some of the example. Again, some more example you can add. I am not going so details about this. Okay, so this is all about the types of forest. We discussed about the forest ecosystem and all the flora, fauna, all the vegetation, animals we have discussed. But students, the main topic here is, nowadays due to the increased rate of industrialization and as due to the increased growth of population, gradually we are losing our flora and fauna. Okay, we are gradually losing the forest ecosystem, isn't it? Because nowadays, due to the industrialization or maybe the growth of high growth of population, generally the forests are being cutted. Okay, so that we can get wood and we can build our houses. But is it nice for our environment? Is it already we have discussed about the consumers, producers and all. So already we have discussed about the food chain. In the food chain, which one is in the primary, in the first level? The producers. Okay, the producers are in the first level, means we are hampering the first level of the ecosystem, and all the other levels are dependent on the first level, isn't it? So how we are hampering? We are not building, due to the increase in the growth, we are lacking behind, because one day, some day will come when we will not be able to get adequate amount of food, because there will be no producers. Okay, so we should take our initiative. Okay, we should take our own initiative to conserve the forest. We should, each of us, most of the time we are talking about the NGOs and all, but what we are doing from our side to conserve the forest? Are we doing something? No. So let us start from today's. Let us start some of the step. Okay, we can also take a small step, like we can, plant a single tree. Okay, or else when we are moving by the roadside, we can, when we are taking some fruits and all, we can throw the seeds by the roadside instead of throwing them in dustbin and all, so that each of us we will start doing this. There might be there that we can able to grow some trees. Okay, and we should increasing rate of population. It is not in our hand. Due to increase in growth, due to increase in industrialization, the forests, we cannot stop cutting the forest, but at the same time we can start growing trees in bare lands. Okay, there are so many bare lands where we can start growing the trees. Okay, I am not saying that we should stop cutting the trees, because by the growth we have to also move. As we are moving from the developing country towards the developed country, we have to increase our productivity, we have to support the industrialization, but by the same time we should also conserve our forest, isn't it? So this is all about the forest ecosystem. This is all about our discussion on forest. Okay, so here we have completed this part. Again, go through your book. So many other things are there, you can add here. See, these topics are not so specific. You can also add some more details or some more things from your side. Okay, so this is all about the forest ecosystem we have discussed. If any doubt, again you can ask me. Again, go through your book. Again, go through the producers and consumers. Okay, that is very important. The trophic levels, get clear about that: food chain, food web, and the pyramid of number. Okay.